All right. Well, welcome everybody to this September 10th regular school board meeting. Exciting to be back. Hello.
They're on their way, I think.
Yeah.
Athletics.
Yeah. Great.
Oh, he won't be.
Okay, well, we can stand and say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So before we adopt the agenda, I'd like to just take a moment and recognize Rob Zimmerman. Rob Zabel, sorry. I'm going to defer to James here.
Come on.
Yeah.
So Rob was not prepared to do anything, but I did share with him a couple of weeks ago that his daughter was heading to Arizona. He's like, I need to be there for that. So I said, don't worry about the first meeting, but come. And so I appreciate you remembering.
Yeah.
And then super excited to have Rob joining the district. I had the pleasure of hiring the Squalifin staff several years ago from Seaman. And so I don't know if you want to share anything, but thanks for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate the flexibility to miss the first one as it was the night before my daughter went off to college. So that was an important night for us, but excited to be here, excited to be part of the team and really looking forward to building on the connections we've already started to make here. So thank you for having us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Can I please get a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
And I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Can I please get a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Motion to adopt the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have any public comment?
We do not.
Okay, let's move on to reports. It's like Cynthia Richardson and Rebecca Kratz. No Rebecca?
Rebecca.
Oh, all right. You're not a bad sub.
I'm
Yeah.
here.
So I'm Cynthia, and I was here last year, and I've seen you guys out and about in different activities. I'm our secondary TOSA for technology, and I do some other things for the district as well. And then I also support MP3 with their tech and robotics as well.
Then Rebecca this year is transitioning into the dean role at Irene Ryther, so we'll share a little bit about some things that she had from last year, and she'll still be doing some support for technology as well.
I want to make sure I heard that correctly. You're going to do secondary, like MP3, TOSA technology, plus students at IRE?
No,
No.
Rebecca.
Rebecca.
Okay, wait, I was like, that doesn't
Yeah,
have
no.
information to me.
No.
Great.
No.
So, and it's always hard because you hear us talk about the roles, but never the people that are in them. So when we spoke about transitions and cuts.
Yeah.
Moving to a dean at Irene rather than having a second AP, so really great to promote someone within our system. And so Rebecca's gonna be excellent. So.
So she'll do some more tech stuff a little bit in part of that role, but no, I support Irene for like mentorship program and that sort of a thing and certification hours, clock hours, that sort of stuff, but I'm sticking. So some things that we do in our job, we support student assessment and data. So that means like iReady, our SBA interims. We support like creating common formative assessments within our schools. Then we support teaching healthy digital habits and digital citizenship. And with that also is like digital media literacy as well. So if you have like your understanding of technology and then you have your media literacy, which is its own set of skills. And then you have digital citizenship, which is like behaviors and ethics and how you treat others and yourself online and digital footprint. So we kind of have a scope and sequence for all of those things. We promote equitable student access to curriculum. So how are we teaching accessibility tools, particularly tools that are technology based? And we both support our online curriculums, particularly for secondary, right? At the middle school, our curriculums have online platforms. So supporting access to those and teacher support for those as well. And then teacher support in general for how do we use technology to support student engagement? How do we support them for assessing? How do we support them for research and all those different activities that they're going to do in real life outside the four walls of the classroom, but practice those in a really safe environment.
And one thing I'd like to highlight for you all is just when like the PLC teams come or the principals come and they're sharing data or they're having graphs or things like that, a lot of times Cynthia or Rebecca have been there helping support those things that are happening. So they're helping to build that skill set with all of our staff. So that's been a really important thing. And then I do also just want to second the equitable student access as we go. Cynthia sent something out this morning. Here's a new tool for translation that we now have as an access as part of our thing. So all of those pieces are up there. It's they're really instrumental in making sure that that's in place for students as well. So there's kind of those couple of things.
These are some things that I worked on last year in my buildings. So with our high school English team, we administered SBA interims. They're like little micro bites of the SBA that the state publishes. And they are common assessments that we can do across the board. They are really targeted to skills and standards that fit neatly within the curriculum. And so then we can look and see like, hey, who's on track? How's this going? Who needs intervention and support? And how do we look at that data? And then how do we make a plan for instruction? With our math team here at the middle school, worked a lot to create vertical common formative assessments. So each teacher has one grade level. So doing a common assessment where there's only one person teaching 6th or 7th or 8th is really difficult. But if we think about vertical skills and how do our standards build on one another, and what skills are common throughout, then we can build an assessment that relates to all of our students. And we can actually pinpoint where is the breakdown of student understanding. And we can say, oh, actually this student needs this level or this student needs this level. And we can plan for our intervention times as well. And then at MP3, I worked with Rebecca Montgomery at her technology class. And we created some digital citizenship integration into tech projects. For example, they do their stop motion videos, and we talked about the ethics of videoing. We talked about in their digital escape rooms that they created through Google Forms. We talked about how if we're going to take something that is somebody else's and their idea, that we need to cite them appropriately. And how do we publish something to our classmates in an appropriate manner so that we can play each other's escape rooms? So we did some digital citizen integration. This year, we're building a lot on the foundations that we started and continue to work with over the last few years, but really working on our student growth goals to support instructional practices. So TPEP is another thing that I support in our district, and technology just goes kind of hand in hand with that.
TPEP's the teacher evaluation rubric works.
Yeah. And then working on how to get student voice and choice involved, and technology is a nice avenue for that. Whether they want to work on something digitally or paper, or even just gathering their feedback in a systemized manner so that we can implement their voice in their classrooms. Again, continuing to work on common formative assessments, but really honing in on what's our system and how are we gathering that data so that we can all look at it and all utilize that in an effective way. And then we have built a scope and sequence for digital literacy and digital media instruction for all of 6-12. and starting to implement that.
And then Rebecca also did highlight a few things from the elementary school. So, and I think we've had a chance to see some of these examples as well, but a lot of the work that happened there was around the use of the tool formative to track and respond to data, particularly in math. I think you got to see some of those examples. Also working on digital citizenship. So part of what Rebecca does is she is the teacher of record, so she works with the paraeducator who helps support our technology class there. And so she helped with that, scope and sequence kids there. And also thinking about how we help kids in the progressive discipline model, meaning that if you're learning how to use technology appropriately, how are we also supporting you as make choices maybe as a second grader and third grader about how you use things appropriately? And maybe if Nate has any additions to that, but in a way that's helping you learn, so that as you get older, you have more technology, you kind of build some of those skills. And then also working with empathy. So I think that part of what they're looking at for this year is really continuing, like, kind of like Cynthia said, really using that assessment platform. So a lot of it, how are we more having teachers have more accurate, more easy to navigate, easier to use, easier to respond to real-time data about kids are. So those are some of the big pieces that are happening there. Any questions?
I just wanted to give you kudos. There was great things said, during my MP Creek campus tour. I actually stopped and talked to Rebecca. About just, there's kind of a request for like a little refresh to technology over there, because the kids are on such a wide spectrum of abilities and what they're coming in with, and how can we make it exciting and engaging. So good job on working collaboratively to bring something new to the table, or a fresh sense of things in that.
Yeah, I also wanted to say that we're such a data-driven group, and so to know that you're helping behind the PLC presentation, thank you for that, because we really appreciate everything that goes into those presentations, so thank you.
I also want to link back to, and I think Marty was the only one on board at the time, but we put a lot of energy into acquiring technology with the leases that we did at, in the shadow of COVID. And then prior to that, we had technology, but we didn't have anyone to help drive the instructional aspect of it. So all the things you've heard Joe talk about, acquiring and maintaining what we have and make sure we have those in place, but it's really Cynthia and Rebecca and working with Adrian and with Joe to ensure that our staff are actually able to use it in a way that we haven't really done as a district before. So that growth is huge and new for us as a district. So.
Not premonition for those three folks.
Right.
When it happened, like, wow, good thing we did that.
It was February. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Anyway, fantastic.
Great job.
So the technology is one thing, but to have someone who helps guide the rest of the staff use it is completely different.
Always great. Guiding.
These are the, all the things that sound great is because these guys are helping us to make it happen, so.
And super.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Thank you both very much. Moving on to the annual staffing report. Dr. Kurt Harville.
I'll never get old. It's got a good ring to it, isn't it?
It's growing on me, it's still hasn't sunk in yet.
We'll keep reminding you.
Thank you for that.
Yes, thank you, Doctor. And soon to be.
All right, soon on the back, yeah.
I'm to Amazon, I get some prescription pads. Even don't believe it. Oh, yeah, Dr. I'm not Dr. Herbal. Find my maker.
Well, good evening. I'm gonna walk you through the staffing report for 25-26. We're gonna start with probably the most important thing we do. And former superintendent talked about it, about hire well to lead well. And
You have to speed up.
And as you watch the progression over the past 10 years, 15 years of Meridian, that is really coming true. And so our goal is to hire the most qualified staff, and that qualification could be both in the content that they have, but it also could be the best fit. It might be the person who blends in well, that has the highest ceiling. And so our building principals, and this is something that has been really fun to watch, and you'll hear it on the next slide. But they really like to hire. They like the process. They are, to hear, and I'll take, well, actually, all of them. To hear them talk about their interviews and the process they're going through. It has been enjoyable to watch, and I'll share some more of that as we go. All staffing is enrollment based, and so last spring, Daniel went through the budget, and we talked about the changes that we had to make based on the budget. But as we go forward, every executive meeting talks with the budget portion. But as we go forward, any decisions that we make will be based on student need and student enrollment. And then the last one is flexibility. And you just saw really two examples of the flexibility that we've had within the district. Cynthia began her career,
Yes.
she began her career as a middle school, I believe, ELA teacher for MERIDIAN. And then we kind of saw that she liked the tech, and she was good with data, and so we knew she had a passion for it. So we kind of nudged her, or she asked, I don't remember how it went, but we wanted to pursue that. And so she's been in this role, I'm gonna say 5 years, but don't quote me. But she's been in this role now for quite some time, and it's her passion, and that's where we want. Another example is we have a special education teacher at the middle school, who started as a paraeducator at the high school. And during her paraeducator time, she was going back to school to get her degree, earned it. Erin, somebody saw potential, an opening moved up, she applied and was chosen. So that aspect of growing your own and watching employees who come in one role, but maybe want to be a teacher, maybe want to be a director, watching them make that progression is exciting, and it gives the district some flexibility. The other thing I want to talk about flexibility is job position titles and the CBAs. And so we have the ability to use leave replacements. We have the ability to use temporary positions, mainly for classified. And we use those a lot with our student enrollment, and you'll see them a lot with paraeducators, where we will add a temporary paraeducator for this year to support a particular student. With certificated, we don't have that category of temporary. With certificated, we can use either provisional, and we have 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, or we have leave replacement. So there is some flexibility in how we hire. Hiring process. And this is something that has really expanded and really actually exploded probably in the past 2.5 years. It started with Tyler at Irene, who said, hey, how can we do demo lessons? How can we have them teach? And then he did that. And then Robert at the middle school started, Sean started, our directors are working to get some sort of a demo into their interviews. And it is fun. I don't know if fun's the word I want to use, but it's the word I'm going to use. It's fun to watch the people get excited about improving their craft to get better people working with our students. And one of the things that I heard from Tyler specifically was he had a large pool. He had some openings to hire for teachers. He had a pool of probably 50 or 60. And we had a conversation in August, early August sometime, because the hiring committee was really worried about the upcoming hiring process, because they had so many quality candidates in there, and they didn't know how they were going to make the right choice for the culture of the building. And so we talked probably 20 minutes about, okay, what can we do? What do you see? And And so that is a great problem for our principals and directors to have. And because of the demo lessons, we see a different side of an applicant that you wouldn't see otherwise. So the demo lessons, I think, Michelle, last year you asked, hey, is it gonna expand? It's expanding, and it's expanding into the directors as well.
That's what my question was, like, when is this actually happening? It
Yeah.
wasn't last year.
Yeah, it is happening.
So did Rob have to?
Rob joined in, we have had our principal position process. I think I went through it. I think Dr. Everett probably went through it.
So it's, when you'll see a quote from Robert about being a bottler, it is a full day, and you have 6 stations, and everyone was about that. Mr. Rob got, they enjoy that.
How did you like the process, Rob?
It was pretty extensive. It was 6 hours. And, like I said, it was 6 rotations, and each rotation was 45 minutes. And, I did how to read a staff meeting. I did a formal interview. I did a tour with students. It was, every stage was different, and I was evaluating every stage. But it was by far the most extensive in the
That's great.
It's been a great process. We're trying to get student voice. We have a student section of that interview process, and we're working to get the voice from them. Following the 6 steps that Rob went through, they get to leave. And then the interview team sits around and we go through the wows and wonders for each applicant. And that takes an additional probably hour to hour and a half. But the information you find out through that process is invaluable. So we're continuing to tweak it, but that's the process we typically use for principals. And we've also started to use that. We did it a couple times with directors, where they went through maybe a 2 or 3 step process.
How frequently does your hiring panel rotate in and out? So that
How
we don't,
frequently?
yeah, like, so that we don't get in a rut of just hiring the same type of candidate every single time, but we have some diversity in the panel.
Yep. For principal, I will send out, I'll just give you an example. For principals, I will send out hey, we have a opportunity to go through interviews for a principal. Let me know if you want to participate. And I get the same staff members that want to participate. There's also staff members that I'll go tap on the shoulder and say, hey, we think we'd love to hear your voice in this. It is tough for some of them because it's a full day out of their classroom. And they're doing the lesson planning and all that. But we do try to make sure we get a variety of voices. And then we also ask our buildings for the same thing with the leadership students, so that they get their voice. On a teacher, they may be hand selected by the principal based on grade level, based on what they're gonna do. If it's a paraeducator, we're gonna want typically the teacher that is working with them. We're gonna want the supervisor. And then we're gonna, per the MESP contract, we have to have other MESP members in there. And then we are constantly trying to get more student voice in. That help? Okay. Executive team last year, executive team reviewed any opening to see if we needed it, if we could fill it a different way. This year we are gonna review all the unbudgeted vacancies. So all the post-budget ads, we're gonna go through that process with. This year it felt like a long hiring season, but it was because we didn't start until probably May after we had the budget. So since May, we've hired only 28 people. Since May, and they range anywhere from Rob Ziegler behind us to student loans. And I didn't include coaches, I didn't include leave replacements that didn't carry through this year. I just included those that were for 25, 26. Next page, I asked each of the principals to give me a quote about hiring. And the quotes are much longer than this. But I chose kind of a nugget from each principal. And so I'll read them. Tyler said, what is most important is hearing how they think about instruction in the coaching sessions that follows. And so what that means is in their demo lesson, the teacher will teach, the applicant will teach for 15, 20 minutes. And then they go into a coaching session afterwards. And I don't know what it is exactly, what went well, what would you do different, why did you make this decision, coaching or instructional decision? And then they go into a regular interview, traditional interview. What he is noticing is if an applicant applies in May for a teaching position, is not selected, and then another opening comes up in June, he is seeing that the coaching he gave them during that mock interview demo lesson is starting to come through in that next interview. So that tells him an additional bit of information that this person is coaching. And this person takes coaching and takes feedback and likes that process. And that just makes us better. It allows us to hire better instructors for our students, which is our goal. Mr. Kratzik said, though it's a tough gauntlet to run, we've had nothing but positive feedback, even from candidates not selected, about the tone it sets for how important hiring is in our business. So when you're on that phone call and you're getting hey, we're choosing to go in a different direction, but you are still like, that process was amazing. It makes me want to be a part of it. That's pretty cool to hear. That the process that we go through is, even when you don't get selected, you're wanting to be there. And then Sean, the demo lessons allow us to see how applicants connect with students, deliver instruction, and manage a classroom in real time. And so high school, they're using the students to give feedback about the lessons as well. So continuing to improve it. Michelle Seidel is not in here. I want to recognize that. She was out when I was gathering these, so I will bring her full again this time. Current staffing. Current staffing, we have 276. I'm gonna say ish, but we have 276 staff. And this is just our teaching what we need to do to run Meridian School District on a day-to-day basis. This is all our bus drivers, all our paraeducators, teachers, administrators, finance directors. It's what we need on the daily basis. You have the breakdown there, 129 certificated staff. These range from teachers to specialists, OT, PT, 119 classified staff. That's everything from student monitor to custodian to driver. 7 building principals and assistant principals, and then 18 non-represented directors and executive team. So that's our current staffing. What this does not include is any coaches and any clubs. So with coaches and clubs, we're getting closer to the probably 375.
What is non-represented mean?
Non-represented is they're non-represented by a union.
Okay.
But they are still not exempt from, if they go into above 40 hours, they still qualify for.
Okay.
Collective bargaining groups. We have 3 collective bargaining groups in Meridian. We have the MEA, which is our teachers. We have MESP, which is our classified staff. And we have our newest bargaining group, and that's our Meridian administrators team, our MAT. We hold, either Dr. Everett, myself, or Julie Dodd and myself hold monthly meetings, labor management meetings with each of these groups at the district level. Each building principal holds monthly labor management meetings as well with their union groups. And from both standpoints, those monthly labor management meetings are designed to solve problems, build relationships, and in talking with our MEA president today, it's a good way to just forecast, hey, here's what's coming down. Here's what we're thinking. I think that because of these monthly meetings, our relationships with all 3 groups have improved substantially, just with communication. There's no surprises. There's no surprises on either end. And it's worked out well. We will have the opportunity this spring to bargain with all three groups. And we will start MESP for the classified, we'll probably start in February with the goal of being done by June. MEA, there's a similar goal, be done by the time school's out. And then MAT we'll work through as we go.
Dr. Harbaugh,
Yes.
what's the attendance for those meetings normally?
Who's in attendance?
Yeah, like noted number normally.
Oh, for the labor management meetings? It's typically either, depending on the group, for MESP for the classified staff, it's Julie and myself. And then Dan Peterson, who is the PSC representative. And then two of the MESP members, the president and vice president. So 5 to 6.
But what about staff? How many?
Nope. No
Oh,
staff.
no staff
No
comes to
staff.
those meetings?
It's leadership.
It's leadership.
Don't have a meeting, so staff can attend and ask questions. It's just,
But-
gotcha.
Yeah, and the piece that we've really been working on is previously we'll say a teacher or the union president of either group would come directly to the district office.
Okay,
And we've coached them to go, okay, let's go to your building. And let's solve it there. And then if it can't be solved there, then let's bring it up to the district office, to this team. And that's really paid dividends in building relationships with the buildings and their unions and solving problems within the buildings. And those are still probably 4 or 5. And then the MEA leadership for the building their teachers will come to them and say, hey, here's something that's on my mind. Can we think about this? Same thing for MES.
do you know how often like MEA meets?
In each building or as a whole? I don't
Yeah.
have that off the top of my
That's
head.
okay.
I know they do. I know they're gonna meet here pretty soon to look at bargaining
No, yeah. you
and
need
start that
to meet
process.
every- Wow,
My
that's
sense is it's not
it's
very.
not very often.
When I
That's
came
probably a
in,
good thing.
I think when I came in, what Kurt described is true. Things would fester, there wasn't representation, and then the district office solved this problem, but if we problem solve as a system before that, I think it was, over time, it's really important.
Yeah, like that direct, but
Yep.
it's good.
Yeah, it's improved substantially. And then every time we bargain, we will, they do a good job and then we also do a good job of, and Julie does a really good job of, hey, this came up in April, we want to work this into the contract. And so she'll write language, you get that into the contract. So it's really come a long way in the process.
Awesome.
Good question. All right, staff challenges. We have a few. Number one, just budget. The budget's impacting our services to students. And we had to shift, and we talked about it in spring. We shifted some people into new roles. So our mental health coordinator at the district level, we didn't fill that. We shifted her into a counseling position at Irene. And so we lost those services. Aaron Jacoby is taking on some of those services, but that's another hat that he's wearing. And so the services, we're gonna try to get as close as possible, but we're gonna lose some services. We also, based on the budget, we had to reduce our drug and alcohol intervention specialist. And she was a good resource for students who were vaping or who were into the drugs or even just needed somebody to talk to. She was a good resource. Special education, Aaron is already kind of letting us know. He does a very good job of listening to his team and then bringing forth concerns. And special education, one of them right now is caseloads. And they have a high caseload both for teachers as well as specialists. And so he's actively working and we're working on ways to kind of break those caseloads, lessen them a little bit or spread them around. And then finally, staff challenges are classified staff. Custodians and Jay talked about it, I think in August with custodians, we're down a custodian. But the same area needs to be cleaned. And so working with custodians and working with teachers and students to support the custodians and what they're doing. So those are some of the challenges. And then going to each school, Irene Ryther, you have the sections per grade level that we have. one of the things I talked about was we hired it at Irene, we have two brand new staff members, two brand new. The other hires that we did, and part of that August conversation was with Tyler, was he was hiring staff that were on leave replacements contracts from the year before, or were on provisional contracts, and due to budget, we had to release. And so he knew them, and he knew the quality of instructor they were, and so his dilemma was, which ones do I choose, and how do I break this down from the other 50? And so the piece I'm gonna highlight here is, I don't know how many of you were able to attend the TK first day, and the kindergarten first day, but it was a lot of smiles. It was amazing just to go down there, walk down that hall. Kindergarten staff, the teachers all had matching t-shirts. All, when you went to their rooms individually, they were still kind of scrambling a little bit. But when they came out in the hall to go face the students, they were all smiling, waiting for them. And then the new piece is, and James will talk about this in his portion, is the early learning classrooms. So the TK and the ECAP classrooms that we've added. So in between early learning, TK and ECAP and kindergarten, we have 11 total classrooms, and we're serving 180 kids, all in that 3 to 5 age group. So if you need a smile brought to your face, visit that classroom.
Or slight panic.
Yeah, either one.
Cause I was there, I was like, okay, I'm here to. And I stood right where I was supposed to stand.
Yeah,
Like, Anthony helped me. By the time you talked to Mrs. Tone and all that, it's like, he was standing right where I was standing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I couldn't believe how many little children.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, yeah, there was a lot.
and how fast they acclimated to the classroom.
What
Their
was that
parents
number?
left, and then they were doing instruction, and they were playing, and
We're approaching 300, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds in that way. That's a separate elementary school. Places.
When I was looking, I thought it was just gonna be like maybe like 30 kids. You know, like,
I'll give you the still
Yeah.
groups.
yeah, it was almost overwhelming for me. Like, kids.
Going to the middle school. Middle school, we have a new principal. Robert Kratzig was shifted from the high school in April, but then made official for this year. And then middle school staff held steady. They have one new leave replacement. So both, and that's in teaching, in certificated teachers. At breakfast, that the church put on for us, Meridian Middle School came off the school bus, all wearing matching t-shirts. They were representing, there was a belonging, there was a pride, there was a, we're here, which is good to see. And then Meridian High School, you met Rob Zabel, he's our new assistant principal. And we have a new staff member, Allied Health, which is partnering with NCTA. And MSD, and she's serving our students. And then we combined some leave replacements positions, and we brought in a 0.6 PE teacher, and then we brought back a returning leave replacement math teacher because of the work that they've done. And then finally, MP3, one new kindergarten teacher and new, but as I look at that, she was with us last year in a leave replacement position, so we're able to recognize those staff and then be able to hire them again. And then we have a leave replacement teacher until January. That is the staff report. Questions for me?
Sounds like a lot of work.
A lot of information.
Yeah, it's been a lot of work. The principals, directors. The process takes probably 2 to 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, and depending. Thing that I want to highlight, Julie Dodd, all of this paperwork, all of the hiring process, all of the posting of jobs, taking down of jobs, all of that goes through one person. So kudos to her for all the work that she does in maintaining. Plus she's helping with bargaining, plus she helps with staffing and personnel and things like, so,
Sure, HR loves the shout out.
yes,
It's a lot of work.
I will let her know.
So our HR department is currently Google.
I know,
I mean, that
it's a
is.
lot,
It's phenomenal.
especially with 576. Like staff members, positions, roles, responsibilities.
So. The beginning of the day, like that you said, you had a superintendent, so it's very important, to hire well. And that superintendent hired for both of you. As vice principals, I mean, so you were talking about promoting to the within as one thing, and like that. I think it's a classic example of history, promoting from within, we had 2 vice principals, now doctors within our district, it's like. It's good to see.
Thank you.
Was Tim know? I'm just curious, Tim know.
Yeah.
About you being, getting your doctorate?
Yeah, I call.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, let him know. Tim, I know it's like 12 midnight, but guess what? That's great.
Thanks, Kurt.
Thanks, Kurt.
Thank you.
All right, moving on
Okay.
to the startup school report for Dr. Everett.
So typically I just include this in my report, but, it was fun to gather the images and just, talk to our principals about how it went. And I have to tell you, the district kickoff discussion and the idea, that came out of the retreat from the board to just stay with our goals and to keep using the same commitments. They're moving the needle. Let's double down on that, was well received by all the staff. And so, as well as our principals. So, yeah, we're back. So the idea of being able to still be hiring, it's odd that in April, May, and June, we're talking about budget constraints, and then in July and August, we're needing to hire, right? We still have situations where people need to be on leave or structures that have to be supported, and so I think the through line for me and Kurt Sharon is hiring is one of the most important things that we do. When we bring someone into the organization, it could be for 30 years. And so, we take it pretty seriously. The comments about the early learning, we had a quick shift. Adrian was super influential, as was Aaron. We had transitional kindergarten. We've had it, I think, since 2021. When I came to the district, we had developmental preschool, and then we added ECAP classroom, then we added Head Start, and then we brought in TK. Well, because of some contention at the state level, all the TK classrooms in the state were capped at what the previous year's enrollment was. So we couldn't serve any more 4-year-olds than 44. So we worked with Ferndale and with the ESB to try and get some more slots for 4-year-olds out of the ESB. DCYF, which is the state agency that awards those slots, did not provide the ESB any slots. And so Aaron shifted and went back to the Opportunity Council, and we were able to secure 41. And so Adrian, and I must say, ECAP, as a state agency, they have a lot of different requirements than what we have as certified teachers. A lot of early learning teachers in ECAP programs are not certified, and so they have to do a different set of requirements. So being able to do that crosswalk from what the state usually requires into what a school district needs to be satisfied and make sure we hit all the marks that have to be hit. Adrian really took that on, anywhere from making sure we have furniture that fits a 3-year-old, to the curriculum, to making sure that our teachers are getting the CPR classes that they need. So all those things. So we have 40 ECAP slots, and those are, I think, 16 3-year-olds. Ish.
15 now, yeah.
Yeah. And then the rest of the 40 are 4-year-olds. TK is 4-year-olds, and then of course our 5-year-old kindergartners. So we're pushing 300. And it's the group that is, I don't know if you remember, but we talked about an early learning specialist shifting and being able to utilize the funding. TK funding is different than basic ed funding. And so there is a standard that you have to hit on a 17-to-1 ratio for your early learning. And so in order to make sure we hit that, we make sure we have staffing so that we don't leave funding on the table. We'll maximize that. But you can't just keep adding classrooms because we don't have space for that, we don't have the ability for that. And we do have some dynamic people. So Natalie Heine took on that early learning specialist role. That was a great shift, and she also worked really, really strongly with Adrian and Aaron. So anyway, it looked great on the first day of school for those young ones, but a lot of work was happening. It's kind of a duck across the pond, but they was having crazy. Yeah. So kudos to them. And I just want to reiterate that, we are making great strides in the district. The talent is in the district. And I think that the work that's being done is elevating what we can do for every child. We're still trying to be better. But it's really fun to see and fun to be a part of it.
So where are we at in the future with making sure we have space for the additional preschool TK students? Because eventually they're gonna be first and second graders and the building's already busting.
Actually, we have the ability to serve those children. And so part of our issue, is we have children in the district that we can't serve because we're capped. And so, part of the messaging that we're gonna be taking to the state is that they need to remove this superficial cap and serve the children that deserve to be served. And so we will find folks. We have an empty portable, we have another classroom. The other part of this is, as we've gone through budget cuts over the last couple of years, we have really minimized our education program. So where we may have had an extra teacher here or there, we've cut those down to make sure that we preserve staffing, right? So we have physical space. We need the ability to actually teach those children the control they have. Right. It's kind of crazy, I agree. So kudos again to Laurel Church. This is something that they've done a long time. And it's just a great way for us to come together as a district, to have everyone together, break bread together, get a nice message from Pastor Joey. It's a great morning. And yet the middle school staff came off the bus and a little bit of attitude. And that's been fun with our leaders too, is they posture and play with each other. But they've got a good spirit, so it's really good.
And the wish list continue to be shared every week
Awesome.
in the community, so.
Yeah, that's an element that you.
What was that?
We collect wish lists from all the staff that attend that are outside of their budget. As a church community, we honor those wish lists and provide.
Yeah, it's a great benefit for all buildings. So the kickoff event, a little bit different this year. So we actually had our two student representatives. So Logan and Eden shared a message of what they had shared with all of you last year about. They studied as a student advisory group, they studied what their peers had said and the feedback around hearing their voices was so much stronger coming from them than if I were to have read it, right? And so it went really well, as well received. So nice job. Thank you for doing that. And then Natalie and Andrea, Natalie Eining and Andrea Ames, both are sharing a lesson around how do you know that your students actually understand what it is you're asking them to do when you're striving for them, and some instructional work that we've been doing in the district. And so it was great to have it, not just me talking. So appreciate Karen and Mark for being there. I don't know if you had thoughts about the resolution.
I was gonna go back to Logan and Eden's presentation if I could for a moment, but I think Dr. Everett alluded to the fact that it was so hard to get up and talk in front of your peers, but to get up and talk in front of people that are your administrators and your teachers. That's so hard. So you did such a good job. I don't think I could have done it. So you just got up there and like, yeah, and you were so funny. I loved it. I was like, you guys are awesome. That was so great. So you did very, very well. Thank you. Yeah.
And they appreciate hearing your voice too.
Yeah.
I really do.
Teachers did like mention things to me, and not just like praising, obviously, Eden and I for doing that, but the content, which is more important.
Yeah.
obviously. So,
But your delivery was amazing.
thank you.
Thank you so much for doing that.
I also asked each of the principals to give some feedback on the first couple of days. I will tell you they were smooth. Spent those first few days visiting buildings, getting into classrooms, checking with teachers. So I'm gonna do what I preach not to do. I'm gonna read it. It's a little bit small because Tyler had a lot to say. So Mr. Dawkins said, Irene Ryder Elementary has had an outstanding start to the school year. Our youngest learners in preschool and kindergarten settled in quickly, and it's been joyful to see their excitement as they begin their school journey. Across all grade levels, staff are focused on building belonging, strong routines, and high expectations, laying the foundation for a successful year of learning. The energy at arrival and dismissal has been smooth and welcoming, and families have expressed appreciation for the communication and partnership. With our MTSS focus on belonging, attendance, and learning, we're aligned and ready to make this year one of growth and connection for every Trojan every day.
It was so cool that I actually share with Dr. Peters like that at the first day of school. Is watching not only the children like run to Tyler or Mr. Dawkins, you know, and hug them, they're so happy to see him, they're high five and all. But some of the parents too, you know, they're like, you know, like they were almost equally excited, like, hey, we're back. You know, high five, like they're just happy. And to watch the kids, I mean, I didn't do that with my principal. Scared them, you know, out with people. But a lot of kids, and this way everyone was excited to come back. It was just a really positive, it was like, I almost want to stay longer.
Yeah, the energy was contagious. The kickoff meeting just got you excited. You could just feel it in everybody. So, yeah.
Also, Mr. Kratzik. Mr. Kratzik, we've started the year really strong at Meridian Middle School with a focus on our goals of belonging, becoming a true learning organization, and ensuring high levels of learning for every student. Our Meridian mindset of being open-minded, trustworthy, courageous, and caring are showing up daily in the way staff and students interact and build community. From the energy and reconnection at our back-to-school block party, and to the You Belong at MMS wall, to our student advisory and daily mindset awards, we're laying the foundation for this year's theme, clear path and bold future. And they're just doing a really great
That's
job.
exciting. That's good stuff.
At the high school, Mr. Dawkins shared that the start of this school year has been incredible. Everyone is moving in the same direction to support student success. Our students are speaking up, working hard in their classroom, and making sure everyone knows they belong at MHS. The culture in our building is as positive as he's ever seen it, and I'm excited for the year ahead. So, you know, we have MP3. So at this point, MP3 had not had their first day of school. They had had their open house. So MP3 has had a wonderful start to the school year. Families work closely with SLPs, finalize student learning plans and curriculum, ensuring students are ready for success. We had a fantastic turnout for our open house, and campus students are eager and energized as they dive into their classes, which happened before.
It was fun to hear the excitement from some of the families who've been on the waiting list and now can finally get on campus. That was. We still have waiting lists to get onto MP3. That's crazy.
Yeah, so we have about 25 more students in the on-campus classes, which means there's more capacity in remote. And typically the way that they work that is if you are on the waiting list and you want to be served, you can get in the remote, and then when something opens.
Right. And that's what can happen to a couple of these families.
So I'll give you an enrollment update. The official enrollment day was last Friday, and we projected for our budget several months ago, 1,797 students. And right now we had on Friday 1,786, so we're down 11. But I will tell you that we had several students, I think 7 students who were processing their special education paperwork, and so we could not count them. And I think we had 11 students that were in our choice portal, we're waiting to see that we actually are able to serve them based on the constraints. We have no concerns. Daniel and I had a conversation. We figured that October and November things will utilize and we're fine. But I do want to acknowledge our executive team and Daniel and the ability to project months in advance our enrollments to almost single digits. It's crazy when you consider the amount of error that could occur for any number of reasons. So kudos to them for that.
Yeah, feel like we should call them match baseball,
That's what happened to Star School.
right?
Well, thank you, Dr. Everett. It's pretty awesome. Sounds like everybody's pretty excited to be back, so it's refreshing.
Okay.
We have no new business this evening, so we're gonna move right into old business. We have the second review and approval of the capital facilities plan. Logan. your new elements.
Yeah, I had a question. I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't have asked this at the last board meeting. But the plan includes like projections for housing development, and it came to this number of like 200 to 300 students from like around 1,000 homes. And I was just wondering how that number was calculated, because to me, I feel like 1,000 family homes is more than 300 students. I don't know. So that was just my question.
That's great. I'm gonna ask that, Mr. Yeager comes up front and center. I asked him to be there in case there were questions.
It's math tonight.
Right, where's Daniel?
So Logan, the calculations are based on a student generation rate. And it's based on the type of home.
Okay.
So you see 1,000 homes. Some of those are multifamily, some of those are single family, some are townhouses, apartment complexes. So the student generation rate changes based on the type of home. So those numbers were given to us based on the Bellingham school districts.
Oh, okay. So it is based off of like a
Historical data.
pre-existing. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Yep.
That was my question.
Yep.
Aren't some of the homes that are over there 55 and older right now?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so.
I had a question based on feature in the Living Tribune this week from Superintendent Vanderyacht. Where he claimed he's looking at the use of the State Environmental Policy Act to address overcrowding of the district and authority to claim the new developments can create environmental impacts like overcrowding and inadequate services.
You talk about seepage mitigation.
Yep.
Yeah. So I can't speak to his plans, right? But I can tell you the secret mitigation fees, which we currently collect fees from a development that was put in 1988. Every time there's a new home constructed, the districts, we still get those fees. And those are the same type of fees that we would be seeking with the high-tech development to mitigate the student development.
Okay. Well, can I please get a motion to approve second review and approval of capital facilities plans?
I will motion to approve the capital facilities plan as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on. The second review and approval of the school improvement plans.
Can I speak to that?
Oh, sure.
So we presented these last month. Read all the requirements. I did not believe that it needed to have board approval. And in the last month, have received documentation that said, yeah, you need board approval. So it's back in front of you. Asking for your approval so we can meet that.
Okay.
What we just approved.
No,
No.
we presented them
Right.
last month, but we never asked for your approval, so we're asking for approval this time, so you can check that box with OSPI that they are done and that we have to present.
Well,
No, these plans are great.
right, please get a motion to adopt school improvement plans as presented.
Motion to approve the school improvement plans as moved out in the academy.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Second reading approval procedure 2161, special education and related services for eligible students. So,
Again, this is a really positive.
can I please get a motion to adopt procedure 2161 as presented?
I'll make a motion to adopt procedure 2161 as presented.
And I'll second. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Second real approval, policy 2230, transition to kindergarten program. Ms. Logan, do you have anything? No. Okay. I please get a motion to adopt policy 2230, transition to kindergarten program as presented.
I'll make a motion to adopt policy 2230 as presented.
And I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Second review and approval, procedure 2410, graduation requirements. Slogan,
I'm voting.
please get a motion to adopt procedure 2410 as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve procedure 2410 as presented for graduation requirements.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Second review and approval, also procedure 5260, personnel records. So,
No problem.
I please get a motion to adopt policy and procedure 5260, personnel records as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve policy procedure 5260, personal records as presented.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Moving on, superintendent report.
Thank you for those approvals. So this is why I typically put the start of school in my report, because you're getting two repeats of it. So, a couple of things that, I wanted to share. That was, in August, when we were all together as an administrative team. We have 3 days where we come together and do our pre-planning for the first few days of school to get a big kickoff. And then, students on the first day of school, and then the fire truck was donated to NCTA and Wacom County Skills Center. And so we'll partner with that, and it is in our bus garage. And on occasion, we'll go down to Mount Vernon for their program that they have down there. But Mark Wolrab is the instructor up here at Wacom at our high school, and he's super excited about.
That was donated by Linda, right?
Correct. Yeah.
That would be a great entry in a parade to promote
Yeah.
NCTA.
And it'll be so fun to do like when our state, kids go to state and our little parade around our school and stuff, right? So.
So we'll have to make sure we have someone CDL qualified to drive it.
You don't want it to be Janet?
Kids.
Party.
Yeah, I got my CDL.
Okay.
And I just wanted to comment on the picture of all of our administrative staff in this. Everybody looks so happy and ready to be back at school, and I just see great things coming from all these people. So thank you for all the time you put in, getting ready for school, and I think we all are very excited for all the great things that are gonna come.
It is a great team.
It is,
It's a great team.
everybody just looks like one big happy family picture right there. So it's
And it is, and then the excitement's back too, like for me, 'cause like Hannah Kelly, you know, my
Yeah.
brother boy is a diploma. And then Langston started pre-K, who was like, it never stops, right? It's another grandkid going through. But so I was a little more excited this year. Yeah, I was excited in 2012 too, when he graduated, you know that. Marty, can you come down to the office? I'll be there 30 minutes.
I'm gonna get one for 3 more terms.
Yeah. My son was a little, he helped them all.
All right, moving on.
Moving on.
So again, strong kickoff and a stronger start, and just to reiterate, that was a good event to start, and our guest speakers did a fantastic job, and everyone really did enjoy the message the work they're doing is, it's working, and we're gonna keep doing that, and we move the needle any progress. One of the things that we have going on the first week of school, and then this week with our secondary, school conferences, and post COVID, we did a shift. We used to do conferences in October, kind
November,
or November.
Yeah.
Yeah. Typically at a quarter. And the reality is, we would put on what I would call a facade, that we knew what was going on with each student in their learning, but not really have a good sense. And to try and ensure that we were meeting students' needs, the idea after COVID was to switch conferences sooner to give an opportunity for families to actually share what it is that they wanted us to know about them, instead of us reporting after 4 to 6 to 8 weeks of things that we have done. And often the first few weeks is introductory tangled activities, right? And so it's really been, I think, important, particularly with our younger children, to get a springboard in how they start their education each year. And so we'll continue doing our conferences, and then we'll have at the end of this semester, we'll bring people back again in February. Circle back and have a different approach. Hearing where they've been, looking at their goals and seeing what they have left to do with their semester.
Dr. Everett, what's the feedback from the community on looking at?
It hasn't been talked about much recently because it's been 4 years and into it, right? But initially, it was awkward to start with different. But taking time to where families were asked questions about learning styles and how does your child work with other students, and being able to get that information across, and I think we're well received. I think it's time to probably ask some more questions about how to work.
I think it's so great because we can have big ears, right? Everybody's been for summer and we can learn a lot what they've some adversities and diversities have been going through the summer, and how we deal with them, and right. So I appreciate the transparency to say we didn't learn much through those first few weeks of school, and to be able to say we have a lot to learn, what they had been going through, and how do we approach it. So I think it's a great start.
And I think it's good to circle back.
Yeah.
Is that something Lisa could like send out like a survey or something? Just absolutely. Yeah.
Are we seeing participation growth in them, like the?
Good data.
I think the participation is at the secondary.
Okay,
If you think about engagement of children, elementary, they're all there, right?
right.
Middle school, they're engaged in the process of what's there. At the high school, it's a little bit of a challenge. Your 9th and 10 are really geared to what are we doing to prepare ourselves as we leave. 11 or 12 are kind of dialed. So to have a conference, and I think, the conferences at the high school are targeted to students who are really in dire straits. And so it's always a conversation. What's the best way to approach it? And so as we have a new administrative team, we'll look at the secondary.
Just wondering how we get to the students who need that support.
Yeah, and the focus has been on those who need the support, but that's academic. There are also other pieces that we can to. So
Especially since September's attendance month. And so how do you wrap that together? Like attendance month, it's all those things, so it can be a good kind of play place.
well, what's really exciting, and we didn't report on it, but we do head counts the first 4 or 5 days of school leading up to count day, engage. How are we doing it, right? We want to understand and be ready if we have anything coming in. I can tell you, some days, the middle school returned 97% attendance. Some days, they were 90%. Our kids are coming to school.
Awesome.
We're not dealing with 50% or 60%. Kids are coming to school. They want to. Yeah. A couple of things on the front end. So Marissa Rathbone, you may know that name. She was the government, liaison for WASDA. She was hired by WASA to replace Dan Steele, who had been their legislative lead for the last 28 years. And so she came up and I invited Dr. Dominguez over and she spent about 2 hours. We talked about legislative session topics, things that we would be looking at, like the big three, what's happening around early childhood learning, how we can change the cap on TK, and just thinking about how we'll be able to position ourselves to advocate for educational issues in a 60-day session. This is a short session, even yours are all short sessions. And so, again, when you hear me say it, education received 43% of the overall operating budget, and it received 50% in 2019. So how to get that back. And there was actually an article in the Tribune today that was taking the budget issues across the state for districts and looking at the state legislature and what's been allocated. So, but it was a good meeting. I'm going to continue on the legislative committee with WASA. Also, I just want to share that that was an opportunity to share our needs up here. And then every month, Whatcom County superintendents meet. I've led the group before, and when I've not done that, but I am working in partnership with Dr. Dominguez out of Ferndale. We're actually leading the Region 108 meetings, which are the WASA region meetings. We're co-leading those together, and then we're co-leading the Whatcom County superintendents together. So that's really good to have a partner. And then our student board representatives and Lisa Gilchrist, we met, was it last week already?
Yeah, last Friday, yeah.
To get a structure together for this year. And so we're going to meet district-wide groups 4 times a year. And so Logan is working to send information out to our administrators on how to set up the building groups and we'll get them going. So excited for that to get moving. And then the last thing I have is meetings coming up. You had seen something about me going to Gig Harbor and doing some work around mental health and happiness. I am not going to go. I'm not going to do that. We're short staffed, and so I'm not going to go down to Harbor for the days I stay. But I do want to point out, I am going to be attending the AASA Skills for Real Life. And that's in DC. So Dr. Carville will be leading the meeting on October. That's it.
Okay. Well, do we have the information from our student board role representatives?
Yeah, I mean, I guess Dr. Everett kind of covered most of it with his section on initial planning this. But Eden and I are looking to get our high school advisory started up. Once T3 started, we're gonna meet with Mr. Zabel next week. We have a date planned, I just can't remember it off the top of my head. And we talked a lot with Dr. Everett about like the application process and how, and like recruitment process and how things should work. And we're looking forward to hopefully our first district meeting in mid-October.
I think it's amazing how much pride and how much you put into it. It's really cool.
Thank you.
Great.
Okay. Any information from our board directors?
What do we have? Our volleyball team's traveling to a big tournament that they haven't been in for a couple of years. We just approved their travel tonight, so thank you for doing that. Class of 2026 has a giant fundraiser coming up the 20th at garage sale, so if you need treasures or treats, it's also baked goods. Come have a cup of coffee. There may or may not be my mother's cinnamon rolls present. So.
Those are good.
And remind me when Bob's in.
26.
And then the Saturday, the youth football team's gonna play Marine High
Yeah, you
School,
guys have a
so,
big,
yeah,
big,
or to be
That's a
there.
big day.
Yeah, excited.
lots of community opportunities going on.
This Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I planned.
This Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
So we're gonna do like a whole night, like, just like.
It's gonna be fun.
people going.
Such great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, they're so excited.
I gotta
so
get you both of our rosters and the opposing team's rosters.
Yeah, you could get like a phone, and you can phone for, or you can actually, how do you say his name? Cause I'll write down how it sounds. Just, I wanna get it right for the parents.
We can do that.
Okay.
All right, well, we can sign some official documents and adjourn. Thank you, everybody.